Chapter 5:18. Paying respects to the Guardian One. Excuse me, Guardian. The elderly did not bother with the Blood Moon Elder at all as he walked forward and uncapped the golden bottle in his hand. Soon after, the cool demonic water was sprinkled on Yi Qingtang. This is bad. There was a change in the expression of the Blood Moon Elder, who was lifted by soul-severing troll. Yi Qingtang still lost the gamble eventually. So be it that Yi Qingtang was going to die, but in the end, he would be implicated as well. At that moment, Yi Qingtang had already taken out the talisman and hid it in her palms, preparing to use the kingdom of God to repress this place any time. However, about a few breaths' time later, the blood-colored crescent moon on her glabella was still as bright as before, and there was not the slightest change in the blood moon aura on her body. Immediately, the several branch masters' expressions changed as they stared at Yi Qingtang in disbelief. Even the Blood Moon Division head was surprised as well. Initially, he and the few Blood Moon branch masters believed this to be a fraud and that this girl who claimed to be a Blood Moon Guardian was most likely an imposter. However, what made the Blood Moon Division head and the several Blood Moon branch masters gasp in disbelief was that there was no reaction when the demonic water landed on the girl before them. This circumstance could only prove that her Blood Moon aura and crescent moon on her glabella was not forged. Along with the rinsing of the demonic water, not only was the Blood Moon aura on Yi Qingtang not washed away, the crescent moon on her glabella shone even more brilliantly. Suddenly, there was a huge change in the expression of the Blood Moon branch masters, and they were in utter disbelief. After the rinse by the demonic water, they clearly felt a shred of the Holy Lord's remaining aura on Yi Qingtang's body. How can this be? The Blood Moon Division head looked at Yi Qingtang with his mouth agape. The three great Blood Moon Guardians and Sect Master were appointed by the Holy Lord and were bestowed with the Holy Lord's blessing. Thus, there would be a remnant of the Holy Lord's aura. The Holy Lord's aura was originally very obscure, but after the rinse with the demonic water, it would be slightly more evident. Yi Qingtang had already intended to release the array formation in the talisman, but noticing the shock on the elderly's face and the stunned expression on the Blood Moon branch masters, Yi Qingtang was extremely confused. Could it be that the demonic water was ineffective because it had been too many years? The Blood Moon Elder, who was lifted up by soul-severing troll, felt his heart race wildly. He could not believe the sight. What exactly happened to Yi Qingtang? The Blood Moon aura and the crescent moon on her glabella were actually real? More than that, he even felt the supreme Holy Lord's aura on Yi Qingtang's body. He involuntarily recalled the avid Blood Moon sect worshipper whom Yi Qingtang mentioned before. An unfathomable thought emerged in the Blood Moon Elder's mind all of a sudden. In almost an instant, the Blood Moon Elder was already drenched in his cold sweat. He once said that he would definitely behead that avid fan who dared to impose as the Blood Moon Holy Lord if he saw him. Over. This is all over. The Blood Moon Elder trembled. If the so-called avid worshipper that Yi Qingtang mentioned was really their Blood Moon sect Holy Lord, and the Holy Lord heard of the Blood Moon Elder's disrespectful words, wouldn't he? As the Blood Moon Elder was filled with horror, everyone had a surprised expression. I pay respects to the Guardian. After witnessing that the crescent moon on Yi Qingtang's glabella shone even more brightly after being rinsed by the demonic water, the Blood Moon Division head fell on his knees and knelt by Yi Qingtang's legs. Chapter 5:19. Paying respects to the Guardian 2. We pay respects to the Guardian. Following right after the Blood Moon Division head, the Blood Moon branch masters successively kowtowed to Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang was astonished. She originally thought that her identity would definitely be exposed and she might perhaps die right there. But the supposed demonic water seemed to have lost its effects with the passage of time. Otherwise, the crescent moon on her glabella and Blood Moon aura should not remain. Never would Yi Qingtang believe that the cheap younger brother she picked up on the road was the Blood Moon Holy Lord, the supreme faith of the Blood Moon sect. All of you may rise, Yi Qingtang said, and secretly heaved a sigh of relief. though there was no change in her expression as she pretended to be profound. Guardian, I have sinned. I did not know your true appearance, and even used the demonic water and offended you. Please convict me, Guardian. The Blood Moon Division head hung his head low, not daring to look up. Offending the Blood Moon Guardian was a big sin. He was merely a division head and definitely should not have offended his superior like that. We have sinned. Immediately, all the Blood Moon branch masters said at the same time, and they could not stop quivering. Looking at the reactions of all the Blood Moon sect members, Yi Qingtang let out a breath slowly, though she still wore an indifferent expression on her face. She swept an aloof look across everyone and finally said slowly, on account that everyone was thinking for Blood Moon sect, this should not be viewed as an offense, and all of you are pardoned. Do not repeat it again. Thank you, Guardian. The Blood Moon Division head rose slightly and let out a huge sigh. Similarly, the several Blood Moon branch masters stood up as well. The Blood Moon Elder looked up at soul-severing Troll, who still held him in the air. Aren't you going to let your hands off me? Upon hearing that, soul-severing Troll cautiously bent down and placed the Blood Moon Elder on the ground gently. I'm very sorry. Previously, soul-severing Troll frowned, attempting to explain himself. There's no need for more words. Since the Guardian has pardoned you all, there's nothing much to say, said the Blood Moon Elder coldly. Soul-severing Troll nodded, without uttering a word further. Guardian, may I ask who this is? The Blood Moon Division head looked at the Blood Moon Elder. One of the 36 Blood Moon Elders, Hong Heching. The Blood Moon Elder raised a brow. Hong Heching, it's you? The Blood Moon Division head was taken aback. As the Blood Moon Division head, he naturally recognized Hong Heching and even had some enmity with him from a long time ago. If not for the fact that Yi Qingtang's identity as the Blood Moon Guardian was solidified, the Blood Moon Division head would not believe the Blood Moon Elder even if he reported his name. However, in everyone's eyes then, there was no doubt that Yi Qingtang was a Blood Moon Guardian while this person was following beside Yi Qingtang, and everyone would not doubt his words. Find authorized novels in Web Novel Faster Updates. Better experience, please click for visiting. Huh? The Blood Moon Elder glared at the Blood Moon Division head and scoffed. The Blood Moon Division head was rather awkward. They had some grudges, but now that the Blood Moon Elder was following beside the Blood Moon Guardian, he probably would not badmouth him before the Guardian, right? All right. Yi Qingtang waved a hand. Our Blood Moon sect just gained a tiny streak of revival and will not tolerate any internal strifes between you all. Any previous grudges will be written off here. If anyone refuses to accept this, you're free to reason with me. They'll follow as you say, Guardian. The Blood Moon Division head bowed with cupped fists. I dare not to disobey your orders, Guardian. The Blood Moon Elder bowed in respect as well. Guardian, I am the division head of this division, Jiang Chun. The Blood Moon Division head said softly as he walked forward. Chapter 520. Paying respects to the Guardian 3. I know that already. Yi Qingtang nodded. So, Guardian, do I bring all the other division heads and branch masters together to pay respects to you? The division head asked. The Blood Moon Guardian was extremely high-ranking in Blood Moon sect. It was not like that of the Blood Moon Holy Lords and was second only to the Blood Moon sect master. Guardians held great authority in the Blood Moon sect. One of the 3 great Blood Moon Guardians appeared in their division, causing the Blood Moon Division head to be overwhelmed. Currently, the Blood Moon Division head naturally wanted to notify the other division heads to come over as he could show off to them. Yi Qingtang was deep in thought. Her position as the Guardian should be solidified already. However, from the division head, Jiang Chun, before her, Yi Qingtang knew that every one of the Blood Moon Division head level was not easy to deal with. The more division heads there were, the higher the possibility that her identity would be exposed. Although there were risks, it could gather the powerful figures in Blood Moon sect and defeat Yunshao sect fiercely. There were both pros and cons and risks and rewards. How long would it take to summon them here? Yi Qingtang asked after pondering. In response to your question, there is only this Blood Moon division in the Formidable Heavens dynasty. The other 2 divisions are in the Nine Nights dynasty, and there's still another one in an uninhabited place. The fastest time possible should be at least a month or so. The Blood Moon Division head replied respectfully. Presently, the Blood Moon Division head was fully convinced of Yi Qingtang's identity as a Blood Moon Guardian and naturally did not hide anything as he told Yi Qingtang the locations of the other resurrected Blood Moon Divisions immediately. A month. Yi Qingtang's brows were slightly furrowed. Yunxiao sect had already attacked Xinling sect now, and Xinling sect would probably already be annihilated a month later. What was the use for those powerful Blood Moon sect figures then? There's no need already. It's too long, Yi Qingtang said. Oh! The Blood Moon Division head was surprised, seeming to hear the underlying meaning behind her words as he asked carefully. Guardian, do you have any urgent matters to settle? That's right. Yi Qingtang nodded and looked at the Blood Moon branch masters present. What is the state of the recovery of your skills? The Blood Moon sect had been wiped out by many super sects 1,000 years ago, and those powerful figures who did not die in the battle were severely injured at the least. Their martial foundations were damaged, causing their realm to fall greatly. Guardian, we have been recuperating for a long time. Although our martial skills cannot be compared to when we were at our peak, they have still recovered a little. Do you need to use our skills, Guardian? The Blood Moon Division head inquired. Confusion rose within the division heads. The Guardian should not ask about the state or their martial skills for no reason. Perhaps. That's right. Yi Qingtang's lips tugged up slightly. Let me ask you, which sect sent the most spies in this division back then? Anger emerged in the eyes of the Blood Moon Division head after hearing of this matter. Their division was the first amongst all Blood Moon divisions to be wiped out, and the biggest reason for this swift defeat was because there were too many spies. With both attacks internally and externally, it made it impossible for them to guard against the enemies. Recalling the tragic situation when the division was wiped out, the Blood Moon Division head reflected malice and hatred in his eyes. It's Yunxiao sect, he replied. Let me ask you again. Was there an Elder Chu in this division back then? Yi Qingtang questioned again. Chapter 521. Paying respects to the Guardian for yes. Elder Chu lost his life in the battle that year. The Blood Moon Division head nodded after remaining silent for a moment. Lost his life in the battle? Yi Qingtang suddenly sneered. As the Blood Moon Division head here, don't you know that Elder Chu did not die in the battle but surrendered to Yunxiao sect? What? Upon hearing Yi Qingtang's words, the Blood Moon Division head was utterly shocked and could not believe what he heard. Elder Chu was loyal and devoted to the Blood Moon sect. How could he surrender to Yunxiao sect? However, since this was said by Yi Qingtang, the Blood Moon Division head did not have any doubts at all. Elder Chu actually surrendered to Yunxiao sect. How can it be? Blood Demon, Soul-Severing Troll, and other branch masters exchanged a look with expressions of shock written on their faces. Humph! Yi Qingtang scoffed and swung her sleeves. You aren't even aware that Elder Chu surrendered to Yunxiao sect. How are you doing your job as the division head here? Please pardon me, Guardian. I should die. Seeing that the Guardian was infuriated, the Blood Moon Division head knelt down immediately, and all the branch masters followed. The Blood Moon Elder was originally having tea, but seeing that everyone was on their knees, he could only put his cup down and hurriedly kneel down. Should die? A cold glint flickered in Yi Qingtang's eyes. You all indeed should die. Elder Chu is an elder in your division here. I'll have you all tell me what should be done then. A Blood Moon sect betrayer and all his relatives should be executed. The Blood Moon Division head replied. The corners of Yi Qingtang's lips tugged up into an unknown smile. This was her motive exactly. If she ordered the Blood Moon sect members who were still recuperating to protect Xinling sect for no reason, it would definitely arouse suspicions. Yet, by using Elder Chu as an excuse, it would be right and proper, and no one would suspect her. The Blood Moon Elder told her the information regarding Elder Chu on the way, and she already planned all of this. Yi Qingtang is so meticulous and shrewd. Is she really only 15 years old? The Blood Moon Elder could not help but eye Yi Qingtang. However, the Blood Moon symbol on her glabella and her Blood Moon aura are definitely real. What happened exactly? Could it be that her sworn brother is really the Blood Moon Holy Lord of the Blood Moon sect? The sworn sister of the Blood Moon Holy Lord. At that thought, the Blood Moon Elder no longer dared to continue thinking. If that was really the case, even if their sect master met Yi Qingtang, he also had to be reverent and respectful. Recalling how he wanted to kill Yi Qingtang previously, a chill ran down the Blood Moon Elder's spine. At that instant, Yi Qingtang scanned across everyone. Currently, that Elder Chu is extremely high-ranked in Yunxiao sect. To kill him, you must destroy the entire Yunxiao sect. Can you all do it? Rest assured, Guardian, the Blood Moon Division head knelt on a knee. Although our division cannot be compared to our peak years back then, we have been recuperating for a long time. Although we cannot annihilate Yunxiao sect, we would not be any weaker than them. It was not only Elder Chu. When Blood Moon sect was wiped out back then, Yunxiao sect also participated in it. Even without Elder Chu's incident, the Blood Moon sect would definitely take part in punishing all the powerful forces that annihilated Blood Moon sect once they were completely resurrected. I have just resurrected, and my martial skills are still very weak. I cannot lead you all to annihilate Yunxiao sect directly by force. However, I heard that Yunxiao sect would attack Xinling sect soon and would thus send out a portion of the sect's forces. Yi Qingtang said. Chapter 522, The Oncoming Storm, 1. Guardian's meaning is for us to attack them one by one. We will first attack the force that Yunxiao sect sent out, then head to Yunxiao sect to settle the scores. The male with a sword, Shua Tianzong, said. That's right, Yi Qingtang said without any emotions on her face. Although Xinling sect cannot be compared to Yunxiao sect, it has some heritages as well. Xinling sect would definitely not sit around and wait for death when Yunxiao sect wants to annihilate them. At that time, there will definitely be a life and death struggle. When we assist Xinling sect at that time, not only will we gain Xinling sect's gratitude, we can also borrow their strength to defeat Yunxiao sect's army together. The Blood Moon Elder was shaken. What was in Yi Qingtang's head exactly? How could she even think of such a scheme? Amazing! The Blood Moon Division head exclaimed in admiration. Guardian scheme is indeed amazing. As such, with Xinling sect as cannon fodder, we can minimize our casualties to the lowest. At that moment, the branch masters in the hall were burning with battle desire. Back then, the Holy Lord decreed that they rest and recuperate. After being trapped here for so many years, they finally welcomed a Blood Moon Guardian and could exercise their skills. This time, Yunxiao sect would finally receive the rage of their Blood Moon Division. Pass the order down. We will set off today and head to Xinling sect. Yi Qingtang said strictly. Yes, everyone replied in uniformity. The Blood Moon sect was indeed extremely efficient. In just an hour, hundreds of Blood Moon sect members were gathered. As the Blood Moon Elder witnessed everything, he was rather astonished. Yi Qingtang's bold scheme actually succeeded for real. Currently, Yi Qingtang was seated in a huge red carriage. 8 large demonic beasts had a huge metal chain on their necks as they pulled the carriage while moving forward. The Blood Moon Division head and branch masters walked briskly by each side of the red carriage. Xinling sect, wait for me. Yi Qingtang clenched her fists tightly with icy eyes. At the same time, on Drifting Cloud Island, a black demonic air surged in the sky, and rocks floated in the sky due to the resulting wild wind. It was like a scene in hell, with almost no living being in the area due to the brutal force of the evil spirit. Sometime later, the demonic air slowly dispersed, and a male appeared in the center. Almost instantly, an ancient might suddenly exploded from the male's body, as though it was the reappearance of a true god from the primordial era that frightened the world and all beings. A dark green pair of eyes gazed at the sky as though they could see through eons. Long black hair cascaded down to his waist and swayed in the wind with an imposing aura. Indifference was filled on Han Kangming's face. As he waved, the remaining demonic aura vanished in an instant. The spirit energy in this land was ultimately not enough to repair his crumbling body. Han Songming was in deep thought. The veins on his neck reddened to a piercing sight. Your Highness. Sometime later, Musu walked forward respectfully. Speak, Han Songming said without emotions. Recently, Lady Yi headed to the Blood Moon sect. Musu spoke. His Highness' condition was very unstable these days, and even if he wished to leave Drifting Cloud Island, it was extremely difficult. His body would probably shatter should he be just a little careless. After Yi Qingtang appeared on Drifting Cloud Island the other time, His Highness ordered him to send someone to observe Yi Qingtang's condition. Blood Moon sect? Han Songming was indifferent. It is the sect that person founded 1,000 years ago. That's right. Musu nodded and said, I learned that Yunxiao sect has sent powerful figures in the sect to exterminate Xianling sect. I don't know if it has any relations with Lady Yi heading to Blood Moon sect. Chapter 523. The Oncoming Storm 2. Musu was rather worried. The Blood Moon Holy Lord was once the supreme being on this land and was like a god in everyone's eyes. Could it be that Lady Yi had some relations with him? Your Highness, it is best for us to not interfere in the battle between the sects of this mainland this time. Your Highness' powers must not be disclosed at all, especially. Otherwise, if the Heavenly Emperor senses it, I'm afraid. Musu had a look of worry. Without the heart of the demon god, His Highness was no longer the Heavenly Emperor's opponent and even had to rely on the faint power of faith to sustain his broken body. Moreover, there was a surge of the aura of the evil in His Highness' body. If the Heavenly Emperor located His Highness now, the situation would be far from encouraging. Han Songming frowned slightly without saying anything. Looking at His Highness' expression, Musu had some guesses in his heart and said immediately, Your Highness, how about I undertake the task of protecting Lady Yi's safety? Han Songming's deep green eyes shut slowly, and he gave a slight nod. The battle between Xianling sect and Yunxiao sect. Musu probed. There's no need to be involved in it, Han Songming said without emotions. Noted, Musu received the orders and said again, Your Highness, the preparations for the item that you wanted previously are already about completed. The Crimson Blood Pool should be constructed in a few months. As long as the Crimson Blood Pool was constructed, His Highness' body would be stable, and he could step out of Drifting Cloud Island. Han Songming nodded lightly. Then, Musu finally retreated. At this instant, the sound of war drums reverberated in Xianling sect. The Xianling war flag was flown in the sky. Over 10 inner sect disciples with determined expressions in their eyes hit the war drums. The Grand Elder, Sect Master, and other high-ranked executives stood above the hall. Report! Suddenly, a Xianling sect ran over and knelt on a knee. Yunxiao sect is less than 50 miles away from Xianling sect and could reach in 1 hour. 50 miles? A few internal affairs elders looked at the Grand Elder. Activate the sect protection formation. The Grand Elder narrowed his eyes slightly as he ordered. As he finished his sentence, Elder Mo and the other internal affairs elders started the sect protection array formation with combined forces. Xianling sect had a long heritage, and although it could not be compared to Yunxiao sect, it was not to be belittled as well. Very quickly, golden rays enveloped the entire Xianling sect. What about the Heavenly Elimination Formation? An internal affairs elder questioned. The Heavenly Elimination Formation is laid. Hundreds of wardens replied uniformly. What about the Earth-Killing Formation? The Earth-Killing Formation is laid. At that point, Xianling sect had already made full preparations. No matter how powerful one was on this mainland, they had to pay a certain price if they wished to casually destroy a sect. There was at least 1,000 years of history for all sections. How could the heritage that the ancestors left behind be destroyed so easily? Boom, boom, boom. The war drums rang continuously, causing one to rise with force and spirit. Hoot! Suddenly, a long cry of a demonic beast echoed at the scene. The Xianling sect disciples looked up in astonishment. A gigantic demonic beast of a bird species flapped its wings. Its body was like a mountain range that extended for miles, while its voice was extremely horrifying and could crush rocks. A black glint emerged in that demonic beast's eyes. As its wings flapped, wild winds were stirred up in the surroundings, resembling a natural disaster. Yunxiao Sect. Sect Protector, Divine Beast. The people from Xinling's sect were stunned. The aura of that divine beast seemed to have reached Yin Yang True Lord already, meaning it was one of the most formidable demonic beasts on this mainland. Chapter 524. The Oncoming Storm 3. On this mainland, a sect's strength was not merely judged based on the skills of the high-ranking executives, but more by the heritage passed down from 1,000 years ago. For example, that divine beast was one piece of Yunxiao Sect's heritage, and even the Yunxiao sect master might not be as powerful as this divine beast. From a certain degree, Yin Yang True Lord already represented an almost unparalleled force. Yunxiao Sect. They truly want to exterminate the entire Xinling sect. An internal affairs elder sighed as he looked at the demonic beast, which was large enough to cover the entire sky. Even the divine beast was activated, and Yunxiao Sect's intention to annihilate Xinling sect was extremely clear. Elder Mo and the rest fell into silence as well. In just a while, a scarlet figure appeared. A scarlet nine-tailed spirit phoenix arrived slowly. Its eyes were filled with disdain as it glanced across the Xinling sect people in the Golden Formation. An aloof and arrogant girl stood on the nine-tailed spirit phoenix. Yunxiao Sect's Yiyu, a Xinling sect warden, frowned slightly. Yunxiao Sect's Yiyu was the sect master's most doted disciple. She possessed an extremely rare martial talent and possessed a blue spirit root. Currently, because her blue spirit root could automatically absorb the spirit energy in the air, her skills had improved extremely quickly. If Yi Qingtang were present, she would have sensed that the current Yi Yu had advanced quite a fair bit from when she was on Drifting Cloud Island. Back then on Drifting Cloud Island, Yi Yu was still at the first heaven of Martial Qi Level 3, but in such a short span of time, Yi Yu's cultivation base had already entered the early stage of the third heaven of Martial Qi Level 3. In at most 15 minutes, more and more demonic beasts that ferried Yunxiao sect elders and wardens arrived. On the back of the divine beast stood a young male. He appeared to be a little younger than 30 and had defined features, yet his every movement exuded destructive martial aura. Yunxiao Sect's internal affairs elder, the once #1 genius of Yunxiao Sect, Li Qinfeng. Elder Mo looked at that young male and frowned tightly. 10 years ago, Li Qinfeng was Yunxiao Sect's #1 genius, and 10 years on, he had already become Yunxiao Sect's internal affairs elder. It was evident that Li Qinfeng was no ordinary person. At that instant, many Yunxiao Sect disciples were standing in the air. There were at least 100 of them, and every one of them was Yunxiao Sect's elites whose martial skills were at least at the mid-stage of the first heaven of Martial Qi Level 3. Boom! 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 Within Xinling Sect, the sound of the war drums was even more powerful, and every thunderous drum seemed to hit everyone's heart. Every Xinling Sect disciple retrieved weapons and Dharma treasures that they favored from the treasure pavilion. Some of the inner sect disciples whose skills were higher wielded black-grade spirit weapons and were burning with fighting spirit. At this instant, Xinling Sect faced a calamity, and the treasure pavilion was opened up at no charge. Even though the disciples' skills were not as good as those of Yunxiao Sect disciples, the difference was made up with the divine weapons and Dharma treasures. In contrast, although Yunxiao Sect disciples were skilled, Yunxiao Sect's treasure pavilion would never be open to the disciples for free. Yunxiao Sect's envoy is here. Xinling Sect's grand elder better come out to pay respects quickly. At that instant, a Yunxiao Sect warden stood in the air proudly as he ordered coldly while overlooking below. Elder Mo sneered coldly. Why is the distinguished Yunxiao Sect visiting us? Your Xinling Sect is so audacious to injure my sect's disciples. Today you all must give us, Yunxiao Sect, an explanation, the Yunxiao Sect warden said. Chapter 525. What is a sect 10? Who is the disciple that you mentioned? The Xianling sect master smiled. Too many to be counted, the Yinshao sect warden said. That's rare. We caught a spy not long ago, named Fu Lingtian. He has been killed by us. There was one more person called Ning Luo and was saved by 2 of the Yinshao sect disciples. Were you talking about them? The Xianling sect master said. Humph, don't talk so much. Your sect has committed too many sins. You better open the protection array and hand over 1 disciple. The Yinshao sect warden shouted coldly. Oh, which disciple do you want? The Xianling sect master still smiled and asked. Yi Qingtang. What a joke! Why would I hand over my sect's disciple to you? The Xianling sect master said coldly. Yi Qingtang of your sect has committed many crimes. She killed my sect master's disciple Yu Tianqing and elder's disciple Li Jiwu. She even hurt 10 of my sect disciples, the Yinshao sect warden said. Everyone of the Xianling sect was stunned after his words. Qin Huan's and Zhu Chang's faces were full of surprise. What joke is this? They want to frame junior sister Yi? Humph, what a joke. Yu Tianqing and Li Jiwu both possessed the martial qi level 3 ability. How could junior sister Yi be able to kill them? Xianling sect's disciples shouted in rage. Qin Huan and Zhu Chang'e stared at each other in confusion. They had witnessed Yi Qingtang's terrifying fighting ability. They could believe that Yi Qingtang managed to kill Yu Tianqing and Li Jiwu. However, no one could confirm whether what the Yinshao sect warden said was the truth. Everyone knew clearly that whether or not Yi Qingtang killed any Yinshao sect's disciples, it was just an excuse. The Yinshao sect would not let go of the Xianling sect. It was destined that the Yinshao sect wanted to kill everyone in the Xianling sect the day they discovered Yinshao sect's secrets. Yi Qingtang was just an excuse. Even if the Xianling sect handed over Yi Qingtang, the Yinshao sect would not stop killing the rest as well. Xianling sect, we'll give you 15 minutes to hand over Yi Qingtang. Time starts now. One of the Yinshao sect's elders said coldly. It's not necessary. If Yi Qingtang really killed your sect's disciples, I will say that's an excellent kill. The Xianling sect master's eyes were cold, and he waved his hand. Everyone was silent after he finished his sentences. Excellent kill. Soon, the Xianling sect disciples broke the silence and shouted together. Excellent kill. Excellent kill. Excellent kill. Thousands of voices were like deafening thunder that exploded in the sky. It was the truth that the Yinshao sect wanted to kill everyone in the Xianling sect. The fight was inevitable, and that made the Yinshao sect the enemy. Was it not excellent that Yi Qingtang killed the enemy sect's disciples? You deserve to be dead. Li Chunfeng, who sat on top of the Yinshao sect's divine beast, said his first few words. You deserve to be dead. You deserve to be dead. You deserve to be dead. The few hundreds of Yinshao sect's inner sect disciples shouted together. Today will be the fall of Xianling sect, an elder of the Yinshao sect said, and a cold glint shone in his eyes. The sect master said that they must catch Yi Qingtang today, no matter what happened. If not because of that, they would not have wasted so much time to talk to the Xianling sect. Chapter 526. What is a sect 2? What do we do when our friends come? Elder Huang of the outer sect shouted. We welcome them with the best wine. What do we do when our enemies come? We use our blood to soak Zuanling's flag. We use our heart to light Zuanling's anger. We use our hands to hit Zuanling's drums. Kill! 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 Thousands of disciples shouted together. The fighting spirit was so intense in their eyes that death was not something that they were afraid of. Kill every one of the Xianling sect. Li Chenfeng's eyes were full of disdain. He sat on the divine beast and commanded. Few hundreds of Yinshao sect disciples immediately dashed towards Xianling sect. Boom! Weapons were waving in the sky and landed on the protection array of Xianling sect. The golden rays of lights did not go out, but were getting more intense. Even the smallest sect contained huge power and backups. If not, why would they establish the sect? The golden array formation was the protection formation of the Xianling sect. It would not be easy even if an Yin-Yang true lord wanted to break it. The hitting sound of the weapons was heard above the void. Hundreds of Yunxiao sect disciples combined their power, trying to break the protection golden array. However, only small ripples appeared on the golden formation. Xinling sect has some power, one of the Yunxiao sect elders said coldly. Swoosh! The elder flew downward and concentrated all his primordial chi at the golden formation. Oh! The elder was shocked, as the golden formation was still intact. Please let the divine beast attack. The elder looked towards Li Chenfeng. Clank! The divine beast attacked with its beak instantly. It seemed to be the most terrifying weapon in the world and pecked towards the golden array formation. Boom! Boom! Ripples appeared constantly on the golden formation as the divine beast attacked. After a dozen attacks, the golden rays of lights seemed to be dimmer. The golden array formation was broken under the attack from the divine beast's beak after 10 minutes. Golden rays of lights filled the sky and dropped like golden rain. Kill! Few hundred Yunxiao sect disciples rushed into the Xinling sect the moment the golden array formation was broken. Turn on the heaven elimination formation, the Xinling sect master shouted. A ray of illusory light appeared suddenly and formed into a net when he finished his words. It wrapped towards the Yunxiao sect disciples. The few hundreds of Yunxiao sect disciples sensed the terrifying power of the illusory light. Their faces suddenly changed, and they backed off. However, a few elite inner sect disciples of the Yunxiao sect could not escape on time and were surrounded by the net. The illusory light chopped those elite disciples of the Yunxiao sect into pieces at a speed that could be witnessed by the naked eye. Blood spurted everywhere. Heaven elimination formation? One of the Yunxiao sect elders frowned. Turn on the earth killing formation. The Xinling sect master commanded again suddenly. The ground at the Xinling sect suddenly turned into a pool of blood at the next second. Hundreds of hands of blood condensed from the pool of blood. Before the Yunxiao sect wardens and the elite disciples could figure out what was happening, they were caught by the hands of blood and dragged into the pool of blood. The pool of blood was like a swamp. Once someone sank into it, struggling would accelerate their death. Apparently, the few Yunxiao sect disciples and wardens were not clear about that. They struggled to get rid of the pool of blood, but eventually were submerged. One of the Yunxiao sect elders tried to suppress the power of the formations after witnessed their terrifying ability. However, the Yunxiao sect elder looked down on the power of the two formations. One of his arms was chopped off by the heaven elimination formation. Chapter 527 What is a Sect 3? Though the price was huge, the Yunxiao sect elder managed to destroy the two array formations. Xinling sect. I really looked down on their power and background. The elder who lost an arm gritted his teeth. The Xinling sect had killed near 10 of their elite inner sect disciples, 3 sect wardens, and one of his arms before they even engaged in the fight. From what the Yunxiao sect knew in the past, Xinling sect's quality was the worst compared to that of the Wind Moon sect and the Qinglin sect. That was the reason why they thought that Xinling sect's power and background was the worst as well. However, the Yunxiao sect elders and the wardens realized that they were wrong only at this moment. Xinling sect's power and background were not ordinary. Rare array formations like the Golden Formation, Heaven Elimination Formation, and the Earth Killing Formation could not be used by weak sections. Xinling sect's power was definitely not the weakest in the 3 sections. It might be the strongest. After the 2 formations were destroyed by the Yunxiao sect elder with the price of an arm, Yunxiao sect disciples and wardens rushed inside without any concern. Kill everyone who intrudes the Xinling sect. Feng Moli's body turned into a ball of red flame and dashed towards the Yunxiao sect disciples. Whiz! 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 Those stronger inner sect disciples of Xinling sect rushed along with Feng Moli towards the Yunxiao sect disciples immediately. The voices seemed to be able to break through the sky and exploded beside one's ears. Feng Moli's ability was among the top 10 in the Xinling sect. He was also one of the 10 core disciples of the sect. He had entered the second heaven of martial chi level 2 and possessed a fire elemental paragon skill. After the treasure pavilion was opened, he took out a dream fire elemental weapon. His paragon skill was strengthened by a few times with the weapon as the source. One of the Yunxiao sect disciples moved swiftly and blocked Feng Moli's way. His cold eyesight landed on Feng Moli, and it was full of disdain's swoosh. He pulled out his sword and slashed down towards Feng Moli. In almost a split second, Feng Moli's body turned into flames and spread out. The paragon skill? Some Yunxiao sect disciples also paid attention over. The paragon skill was rare in the Yunxiao sect as well. Only 2 people possessed the paragon skill. One of them was the Holy Lady Yu, and the other one was Ning Luo. When Ning Luo was on the undercover mission at the Xianling sect, he purposely hid his paragon skill. However, the Yunxiao sect knew about that. Once cultivators understood the paragon skill, it could compensate for the differences in cultivation levels. They could kill someone of higher levels easily. Now that Feng Moli possessed the Xianling sect's fire elemental weapon, his power was too great to be defended. Scorching sun. Soon, flames concentrated in the air and reformed Feng Moli's body. He said the words softly and extended his index finger. Huge scorching flames were concentrated. The flames were like the burning sun in the sky. The flame dashed into the sky at the next second. It swiped through the sky swiftly, and the air seemed to evaporate under the high temperature. The Yunxiao sect disciple frowned and tried to defend the flame with his sword. Boom! The sun-like flames exploded, and that disciple took a few steps back under the force. A few Yunxiao sect disciples rushed over when they witnessed there was someone of the Xianling sect who possessed the paragon skill. It's none of your business when junior brother Feng is in a one-on-one fight. A furious roar spread through the place, and a man used his physical power to hit one of the Yunxiao sect disciples who intended to interfere away. Chapter 528, What is a Sect? 4. The man was strong and wore a bamboo hat. There was a ferocious scar beside his eyes. Senior brother Yuanhu. His ability is the second in the inner sect. He has reached the peak of the 3rd heaven of the martial chi level 2. Many inner sect disciples were excited when they saw Yuanhu appeared. How dare you? One of the Yunxiao sect's inner sect elites had eyes filled with anger. The Xianling sect disciples' abilities could not even be compared to those of the Yunxiao sect disciples, but they relied on the treasure and weapons of the Xianling sect to increase their own abilities. Fierce bell. The Yunxiao sect disciple threw a copper bell into the air. The small bell increased in size once it was released into the sky. It only took 2 breaths' time for it to be insanely huge. Deafening bell rings filled the sky, and the bell pressed down towards Yuanhu. The huge bell was also a Dharma treasure. Before the huge bell could press down, a huge cyan palm appeared in the sky. Boom! A deafening sound exploded in the sky. The cyan palm headed towards the huge bell, and they hit each other heavily. Yuanhu and the rest took the gap to step back and avoided the attack from the bell. The cyan palm was withdrawn by a young man after seeing that the Xianling sect disciples had escaped. Mo Changkong. Senior brother Mo. The young man was handsome and sophisticated, but he was not dressed in a Xianling sect disciple's attire. Many Xianling sect inner sect disciples felt delighted when they saw the young man. They headed towards him. Sect Master, Mo Changkong is here. The young man held the cyan print and greeted the sect master. Good. The Xianling sect master nodded. A smile passed his eyes as he stared at the young man. Mo Changkong was Elder Mo's son and the previous top disciple of Xianling sect. His ability surpassed everyone else's, and he had left the sect many years ago. Now that the sect was in danger, he came back to help. Elder Mo felt rejoiced as he saw Mo Changkong. He was not only his son, but also one of his disciples like Yi Qingtang, of which he felt most proud. Mo Changkong scanned around and looked at the Xianling sect inner sect disciples. He wielded his hand. Kill! 10 of the Xianling sect disciples headed forward instantly. Yun Shu, Lin Long, and Gu Yinxiu, together with the other outer sect disciples who remained, did not join the fight. They were in charge of helping those injured disciples. Ow! Large amounts of blood spurted out of one Xinling sect disciple's mouth as he lay in front of Yin Shu. "I'm sorry." Yin Shu gritted his teeth. He felt that he was so helpless for the first time as he saw the blood on his hands. "Live? You must live." The disciple held Yin Shu's and Lin Long's hands tightly. It seemed that he used all his strength to finish the words. His arms fell to the ground as he finished his words. His eyes were still open, as if he was not willing to accept his death. Lin Long's head was filled with the scenes of the disciples of both inner and outer sect gathering and celebrating yesterday, as she witnessed the corpses around her. However, the beating sounds of the drum pulled her back to the harsh reality. Though Xinling sect had a lot of disciples, not everyone had weapons. The treasures and divine weapons in the treasure pavilion were limited. Disciples whose abilities were weaker were all willing to give the divine weapons to those stronger. Only those who were strong were able to exploit the divine weapons completely. There were quite a few injuries at Xinling sect, but the Yunxiao sect also lost 10 intersect elites. Chapter 529, What is a Sect? 5. The leaders of the two sects did not move at all. The Grand Elder and the Sect Master stared at the divine beast of Yunxiao sect constantly. If they took a move first and did not manage to stop the divine beast, the consequences would be unimaginable. The Xinling Sect Master gritted his teeth. It was not that they did not want to attack, they could not. The Sect Master's eyes were red as he saw those who died during the fight. He bowed to them, and that was the only thing he could do now. He felt so helpless and blamed himself constantly. The fight between the two sects could be compared to the ones among the dynasty. He could not do things based on his feelings, he could only bear with them no matter how painful they were. Feng Moli's body flew and was knocked onto a rock at one of the corners in the sect. Feng Moli slowly got up in the debris. Blood spilled out of his mouth. He was the renowned tyrant in the inner sect, but now he was using his life to fight and to guard the sect. One Yunxiao sect disciple who dressed in a white robe walked towards Feng Moli. His eyes were indifferent, and he held a yellow-grade weapon. "The Paragon's skill is strong. You could use it to block 300 of my moves, and it even killed my senior brother," the man said softly. Feng Moli gnashed his teeth. Swoosh! The man chopped his sword down at Feng Moli. A cyan sword glint appeared suddenly and hit the Yunxiao sect disciple. He flew away under the force. "Moli, are you all right?" Zhu Chang'e went forward and helped Feng Moli to get up. "Thank you," Feng Moli said. "You should thank the black-grade spirit weapon in my hand." Zhu Chang'e smiled. Feng Moli sized the cyan sword up, and the sword released terrifying force. There were 10 black-grade spirit weapons in the treasure pavilion. The one in Zhu Chang'e's hand was one of them. "How dare you!" The disciple who was hit by the sword aura opened his eyes wide in rage and shouted. Swoosh! 2 Xinling sect inner sect disciples took a leap and landed. There was one man and one woman. Both of them held black-grade divine weapons. The sword was pure black, and the knife was pure red. The knife and the sword chopped down at the same time and released dazzling luster. The forces combined and produced a super strong attack. Boom! The Yunxiao sect disciple exploded into pieces under the force before he realized what was going on. Sun-scorching knife and the moon ice sword, so powerful. Feng Moli was totally shocked. The one holding the sun-scorching knife was the current top disciple of Xinling sect, Han Qingyun. The woman was one of the core disciples, Su Xian. The sun-scorching knife and the moon eye sword are the strongest black-grade weapons in our sect. We could show the greatest power of the 2 weapons all because of our love, Han Qingyun said softly. Su Xin's face was slightly red. Only people whose hearts are connected can show the greatest power of the sun-scorching knife and the moon eye sword. Senior brother, senior sister Su Xin's and your abilities are able to use the weapons completely and pose threats to the elders of the Yunxiao sect, Zhu Chang'e said. Han Qingyun was the top disciple of Xinling sect this year. His ability was comparable to that of Xinling sect elders. Susan's ability was slightly lower, but not by a big difference. When the two of them combined their powers with the yin-yang weapons, the Yunxiao sect disciples had no other ways besides death, as they did not possess any treasures and only their own cultivation skills. Chapter 530 What is a Sect? 6. Senior Brother Feng? Very quickly, Yin Shu, Lin Long, and a team of outer sect disciples hurried over. Lin Long and the rest rapidly cleaned and bandaged Feng Moli's wounds while Yin Shu took out a healing elixir for Feng Moli to consume. This was Xianling's sect's territory, and naturally, the sect would go all out in providing elixirs. After consuming the pill, Feng Moli's complexion turned a little better. Humph! Then, a cold scoff sounded from the air. The elder whose arm was chopped off previously brought a demonic beast that Yunxiao's sect raised, and they descended into Xianling's sect. The demonic beast roared and barged into the crowd of Xianling's sect disciples, slaughtering a few outer sect disciples who were providing first aid. The inner sect disciples who were heavily injured were shocked. Before they could take out a Dharma treasure to counterattack, they were already torn into pieces by the demonic beast, seeing that the Yunxiao sect elder with a severed arm descended from the sky with a demonic beast, killing a few outer sect disciples and severely injured senior disciples. The Xianling sect inner sect elites in the surroundings felt their eyes redden. They charged forward at the same time and used the Dharma treasure in their hands, wanting to fight them with all their might. "Get lost!" The elder with a severed arm shouted sternly, sending a strange sound wave which had many ripples. Very quickly, the numerous intersect elites stopped in their tracks at an instant and hugged their heads in agony. Blood flowed out from their noses and ears. Immediately, Elder Qin rushed forward with a blue gourd in his hand. In an instant, all the sound waves were dismissed by that blue gourd. Oh! The Yunxiao sect elder with a severed arm was slightly stunned to see the blue gourd in Elder Qin's hand. I said that Xianling's sect's heritage is not bad, but I didn't expect that it would actually have such a Dharma treasure. Elder Qin did not bother with him as he looked at his surroundings and shouted with a frown. "Where is the first aid team?" After hearing Elder Qin, several outer sect disciples dashed over. "Bring them down to treat them," Elder Qin said with a low voice. "Yes." The leader of the outer sect disciples nodded and hurriedly ordered people to support those injured inner sect elites. "We still can continue to fight." An elite disciple was unwilling to give up and struggled to stand up. However, with just a small action, large amounts of blood seeped out of his wound, and his complexion was as pale as paper. That's right. This small injury is not worth mentioning. At the sect's critical juncture, how can we... Another elite disciple used a sword to support himself up. "Nonsense." Elder Qin waved a hand and cut their sentences short. "Retreat down and heal your injuries." Yes. The inner sect disciples gritted their teeth and could only retreat with the support of the outer sect disciples. "Hold on." Suddenly, an inner sect disciple stopped and looked towards a Xianling sect disciple who was in battle. Senior Brother Li received the Dharma treasure, purple golden rod. With a shout, she threw the Dharma treasure in her hand to a Xianling sect disciple. "Many thanks." After catching it, Senior Brother Li was slightly shaken. He tightened his grip on the purple golden rod quietly, and a grateful expression could be seen on his face. Immediately, the injured inner sect disciples followed successively and threw their Dharma treasures to the inner sect disciples nearby. Senior Brother Wang received the Dharma treasure, Black Sky Seal. Junior Sister Zhou received the Dharma treasure, Demon Binding Rope. Junior Brother Lin received the Dharma treasure, Turquoise Heart Lock. The precious Dharma treasures were handed over one by one. After they saw the inner sect disciples catching their Dharma treasures successfully, those injured elite disciples finally retreated in disappointment. Chapter 531 What is a Sect? 7. They only hoped that this force could help the sect, and that would be enough. At that instant, Elder Qin and that Yunxiao sect elder with a severed arm were in a brawl. If based on their individual skills, Elder Qin was definitely not the opponent of this Yunxiao sect elder. There was quite a gap in their skills. However, Elder Qin had the blue gourd. Die! The elder with a severed arm hollered, as the frightening primordial qi in his body turned into a giant palm that flew towards Elder Qin. However, Elder Qin lifted his right arm, and the blue gourd emitted a blinding light. In the next second, the giant palm formed by primordial qi was actually sucked into the blue gourd. Back to you. Elder Qin scoffed as he released the giant palm from the gourd. The move that the Yunxiao sect elder used initially was instead used by Elder Qin, then, as he returned the attack back at the Yunxiao sect elder. Boom! Caught unprepared, the Yunxiao sect elder was struck by his own attack and retreated a few steps continuously. A cold glint flickered in his eyes continuously. It seemed that they really underestimated Xianling's sect's heritage. However, once Xianling's sect was annihilated this time, all of Xianling's sect's treasures would belong to Yunxiao's sect. The gourd in your hand is indeed pretty good. Hand it to me on your own accord, and I will give you a straightforward death. How about that? The Yunxiao sect elder with a severed arm looked at Elder Qin and snickered coldly. Come and take it yourself if you want it. There were no emotions on Elder Qin's face as a murderous look filled his eyes. Before waiting for the Yunxiao sect elder to continue saying anything, Elder Mo suddenly drifted above them. Immediately, a word scroll was opened. There was only one word on that scroll, kill. As the jet-black words on the scroll appeared, an ancient aura emerged. That is, Yi Yu, who was standing on the nine-tailed spirit phoenix in midair, frowned. This should be a Paragon Dharma treasure and a corner of the godly execution roll. I never thought it was actually obtained by Xianling's sect. The Yunxiao sect internal affairs elder, Li Qinfeng, muttered. Paragon Dharma treasures were the oldest and finest Dharma treasures on this mainland, and the godly execution roll was a calligraphy scroll that contained the mighty power of a god, which was thought to have disappeared a long time ago. The word kill on the godly execution roll was coincidentally obtained by Xianling's sect's grand elder in a certain cave when he was training in his younger days. Swiftly, a horrifying killing intent erupted from the word. In an instant, blood spouted out from the mouths and noses of more than 10 Yunxiao sect disciples, as well as that elder with a severed arm. All of them collapsed on the ground at the same time and were enshrouded by the killing intent. They died instantly, without any struggle at all. Strike! Li Qinfeng bent down and patted the back of the divine beast gently. Roar! The demonic beast, whose body covered the sky, finally moved. Its tail swept across and crashed down like a mountain peak. Many inner sect disciples looked up in the sky, only to discover that that demonic beast, which had the combat power of Yin Yang True Lord, had already attacked. A monstrous might descended from the sky like a destructive force and crashed down with a loud rumble. Seeing that there was nowhere to hide, those Xianling sect inner sect disciples had a smile on their lips without any fear on their faces. They slowly shut their eyes as their blood-stained lips parted slightly to let out the last chant of their lives. We use our blood to soak Zunling's flag. We use our heart to light Zunling's anger. We use our hands to hit Zunling's drums. Farewell. Chapter 532, Xianling Patriarch. 1 Boom. A sound resembling a natural disaster rang. With the sweep of the demonic beast's tail, numerous Xianling inner sect disciples were crushed into pieces instantly. What remained was only the echoes of their once spirited cries before they died. They swore to exist and perish together with Xianling's sect. As that demonic beast finally struck, the Grand Elder appeared. At that instant, there was a huge gold coffin behind the Grand Elder. His steps were heavy and expression dark as he walked into Xianling's sect. Xianling's sect master and the internal affairs elders followed beside the Grand Elder. In no time, Elder Mo descended from midair as well. Boom! The gold coffin was placed down by the Grand Elder, and there was a tremor in the ground. Everyone stared at the huge gold coffin in confusion, with the Xianling sect people, especially, wearing strange expressions. Swiftly, with the Xianling sect people looking on in astonishment, the Grand Elder and Sect Master along with the several internal affairs elders knelt before the huge golden coffin. "We are unfilial. We are unable to protect Xianling sect well." At this moment, Xianling sect is at the border between life and death. "Please, Patriarch." Boom! As the Grand Elder spoke, the enormous gold coffin exploded instantly. Once the dust dispersed, a skinny elderly with white hair and a ruddy complexion was standing in the gold coffin silently. "Patriarch!" Seeing the elderly who walked out from the gold coffin, Xianling sect master and the rest clenched their fists immediately. The powerful figures of the sect recounted in a tearful voice. "It is our fault for alarming you, Patriarch. Yunshao sect is bullying our Xianling sect. Please give us justice, Patriarch." Elder Emon knelt on the floor, not daring to look up. However, that elderly who was donned in a long blue robe did not say anything as he looked ahead at Yunshao sect's divine beast without any expression. "That person is on the nine-tailed spirit phoenix." Yi was slightly stunned to see the elderly walking out from the gold coffin. A look of astonishment flashed across her eyes. "Xianling sect's founder, Xianling Patriarch." There was finally a cautious expression in Li Qinfeng's eyes. Xianling Patriarch was born 2,000 years ago and was once one of the extremely powerful figures on this mainland. He was absorbed in martial arts and was unable to extricate himself from it. When he was 100 years old, he founded Xianling sect himself and was the most powerful person in Xianling sect history. He was known as the Xianling Patriarch. The Xianling Patriarch should already be dead. Yi Yu's brows were slightly furrowed. She was filled with confusion as she looked at the elderly, who walked out slowly. "Indeed," Li Qinfeng frowned, carefully sizing up that almost unrivaled elderly. His eyes flickered suddenly as he spoke. "So that's the case. There is still a trace of vitality in his body." Before the Xianling Patriarch died, he used a unique method to seal his final breath, so as to leave a last chip for Xianling sect to protect the sect. This time, Xianling sect encountered a calamity, and they ultimately invited the Xianling Patriarch. In that case, the Xianling Patriarch will not be able to sustain this appearance for long. Yi Yu's eyes flickered as she sharply caught the main point in Li Qinfeng's words. Since it was the final breath he sealed before death, it would not be able to sustain for too much time. "Exactly," Li Qinfeng nodded. Yet, even though the Xianling Patriarch would completely die after a while, his skills were unquestionable. Roars! Yunshao sect's divine beast roared furiously, and its giant tail swept at the Xianling Patriarch. Chapter 533, Xianling Patriarch 2. There were no emotions on the Xianling Patriarch's face, and there was no change in the look of his eyes. Once the giant nine-tailed spirit phoenix's tail swept over, he vanished instantly. In the next second, however, he suddenly appeared on the back of the divine beast and came face to face with Li Qinfeng. In Xianling sect, the Grand Elder felt repression in his heart as he looked at the back view of the Xianling Patriarch. The Patriarch knows that he is unable to sustain for long and wants to defeat the enemy by capturing their chief. Thus, he is helping us to settle Li Qinfeng. With the Patriarch's last breath, he can only execute one move. Elder Qin said with a tight frown. Amongst all the people who came from Yunshao sect, only Li Qinfeng can control the divine beast. If Li Qinfeng is killed by the Patriarch, we can stop Yunshao sect. Xianling sect master side. This was Xianling sect's final card, and they could only put their all into the fight no matter what. On the back of the divine beast, Xianling Patriarch is indeed powerful, Li Qinfeng said with a laugh as he looked at the utterly silent elderly. The Xianling Patriarch was not mute, but he could not say anything at that moment, even if it was a single word. He had already burned out 1,000 years ago and only had one last breath in his mouth. If he opened his mouth and this breath escaped, he would be completely dead. He would definitely not speak before he helped Xianling sect to resolve the great danger immediately. the Xianling Patriarch's hand moved towards Li Qinfeng. This move was extremely slow. However, Li Qinfeng's expression changed drastically, and a look of shock emerged in his eyes. The Xianling Patriarch's hand accumulated a force that was converted by his final breath that had been sealed for a long time. Although it was extremely slow, it contained the great force of the world, and it was as though the sky would crack from his attack. At that instant, time seemed to stop. It was a dead silence. The world seemed to turn around from the Xianling Patriarch's strike, and it was as if it could no longer operate properly. The attack was extremely profound and could no longer be described with words. Li Qinfeng was simply unable to move, and he could only watch the Xianling Patriarch's hand approach him slowly. Boom! There was a loud rumble as though heaven and earth clashed. The palm finally landed on Li Qinfeng. As the palm landed, the great force finally faded gradually. There was a smile on Li Qinfeng's lips as he instantly turned into a talisman that was burned into nothingness. Xianling Patriarch is indeed powerful. Li Qinfeng's voice sounded from behind. It was then that the Xianling sect masses saw that Li Qinfeng appeared in front of Yi Yu, and he stood on top of Yi Yu's nine-tailed spirit phoenix. Paragon Dharma Treasure. Substitute spell? The Xianling sect master was appalled and could not believe it. Similar to the godly execution roll, the substitute spell was also a Paragon Dharma treasure that could block a fatal blow. Unexpectedly, Li Qinfeng actually brought a substitute spell with him to Xianling sect to play safe in case Xianling sect had a strong treasure. How hateful! Elder Qin and other internal affairs elder were extremely indignant. Who could have expected that Li Qinfeng would actually have the substitute spell Paragon Dharma treasure? Xianling sect's inheritance is indeed beyond expectations. A smile appeared on Yi Yu's exquisite face. Towering above everyone with an elegant stance, sarcasm filled her eyes as she continued on. Too bad. No matter what, it cannot be compared to my Yunxiao sect. Even though Xianling sect sought for all kinds of solutions, the opponent they faced was a super sect like Yunxiao sect. Chapter 534 Xianling Patriarch 3. What a pity. Despite inviting the Xianling Patriarch out, you all still could not kill me. Li Qinfeng snickered at the Xianling sect masses. At that instant, a lonely figure on the back of the divine beast slowly turned into dust. He sealed his final breath and stored himself in a gold coffin, all to benefit the descendants of Xianling sect. He had long predicted that Xianling sect would face a calamity in the future. He initially thought that there would perhaps be a day when the descendants of Xianling sect would wake him up, and he would not hesitate to use his final breath to protect Xianling sect. In the coffin today, he heard someone calling him. He heard the Xianling descendants that he had never forgotten about inviting him out of the coffin. However, the elderly looked down at Xianling sect with reluctance. Everyone, there was a trace of regret on his face. Sorry. Boom! The elderly completely disappeared into nothingness before everyone's eyes. As the Xianling Patriarch's last breath faded, his reluctant eyes and his final moment touched everyone's hearts deeply. The Xianling sect disciples fell into silence. The Xianling sect master, Grand Elder, and the rest had a pained expression and felt ashamed for not being able to do anything. Xianling sect, what other heritage do you have? You might as well use them. Li Qinfeng returned to the back of the divine beast and looked down at the Xianling sect masses. Xianling sect had already used all their cards then, and even the Xianling Patriarch was unable to kill Li Qinfeng. Since that's the case, annihilate them. As Li Qinfeng finished his sentence, the divine beast charged towards Xianling sect instantly. In the next second, the Grand Elder and Xianling sect master, along with the internal sect elders, had already viewed death with equanimity as they welcomed the divine beast. However, two internal affairs elders were already slaughtered by the divine beast just by coming face to face with it, while Elder Amo and the Xianling sect master were flung away and spat large amounts of blood, unable to overcome the enemy. At this point, It was as though the Yunxiao sect disciples and wardens entered an uninhabited place. As the divine beast put on display its almost unrivaled power, Xianling sect was filled with dead corpses just like the abyss of Azura hell. Junior brother Zhou, help us to sound the Xianling war drum. Mo Changkong told a disciple softly. Previously, the disciples who beat the drum had already died. Okay. With a determined expression, that disciple picked up the war hammer, walked forward with great strides, and beat the Xianling war drum powerfully. Boom, boom, boom. As the Xianling war drum rang, Feng Moli, Mo Changkong, and the rest went against the current and charged towards the Yunxiao sect disciples. Before long, Qin Huan spouted a mouthful of blood and was flung away. Die! A Yunxiao sect disciple charged towards Qin Huan with a long sword in hand. Huh, what do I fear? The corners of Qin Huan's lips tugged up slightly as he closed his eyes. Suddenly, a demon-subduing pagoda appeared in midair. In just the blink of an eye, that Yunxiao sect disciple was killed from the impact of the demon-subduing pagoda which appeared from nowhere. Qin Huan stared at the large pagoda before him in confusion. In midair, a man in white with a righteous expression looked at Yunxiao sect coldly. Ji Xuan from Falling Sky Valley? A few Yunxiao sect top disciples were surprised to see that young male. How dare a Falling Sky Valley disciple come over to the formidable Heavens dynasty to mind their Yunxiao sect's business? Previously, Xianling sect's Grand Elder had saved his life once. Upon learning that Xianling sect was met with trouble, he rushed over at top speed. Senior brother Ji, Mo Changkong flew up to stand beside Ji Xuan. Chapter 535, Arriving with Troops 1. Junior brother Mo. Ji Xuan was a little stunned to see Mo Changkong. After leaving Xianling sect, Mo Changkong had been cultivating in Falling Sky Valley and was martial brothers with Ji Xuan. All right, I remember that you were a Xianling sect disciple before you entered Falling Sky Valley, Ji Xuan said after thinking a bit. Why are you here? Senior brother Ji. Mo Changkong was puzzled. To repay a favor, Ji Xuan replied. Xianling sect's Grand Elder had once saved Ji Xuan very long ago, and Ji Xuan was almost killed by Yunxiao sect a while back. As a result, he had been suppressing this anger for a long time. Ji Xuan, you intruded into the formidable Heavens dynasty and killed my Yunxiao sect disciple. You have a death wish. A Yunxiao sect top disciple shouted sternly at Ji Xuan. Ji Xuan scoffed immediately. Formidable Heavens dynasty did not even forbid me from entering. What do you think you are? Yunxiao sect. Your sect sent someone to tail after and assassinate me a while back, and I have not forgotten about this. Now that we meet today, they'll just kill to my heart's content. Ji Xuan had already returned to Falling Sky Valley and handed the regeneration stone to his master. Now he no longer had any worries, and so be it if he died there. You're here to throw your life away, aren't you? A Yunxiao sect warden sneered. I dare not say I'm here to throw my life away. It is not a loss when I kill one person, but I profit by one person when I kill two people. I would naturally engage in this profitable transaction. Ji Xuan did not have any fear at all. Then, Ji Xuan did not bother with the nonsense and brandished the demon-subduing pagoda, charging towards the Yunxiao sect disciples. Presently, Xianling sect was already a spent force with countless casualties of high-ranking executives and wardens. The number of intersect disciples who could fight was already less than 100. Flame God! Feng Moli shouted, and his body turned into a raging fireball as he rammed against a Yunxiao sect disciple. Swoosh! Xianling sect's top disciple, Han Qingyun and Su Xian, brandished the yin-yang weapons and inflicted heavy damage to a Yunxiao sect warden. Yin-yang weapons. On the nine-tailed spirit phoenix, Yi Yu's eyes were ice-cold. Yi rose immediately and flew towards Han Qingyun and Su Xian. 15 minutes later, after killing several Yunxiao sect disciples, Ji Xuan, Mo Changkong, and the rest were already heavily injured. Do you all still want to continue resisting? Yu overlooked the Xianling sect masses arrogantly. Her left hand gripped onto the yin-yang weapons while her right lifted two heads with eyes wide open. Senior Brother Han, Senior Sister Su Xian. At that instant, the Xianling sect disciples were utterly shaken after seeing Han Qingjian's and Su Zin's heads. Yuan Hu, Qin Huan, and even Feng Moli clenched their fists tightly as a fog emerged in their eyes. A man did not shed tears easily, unless deeply hurt. Lin Long was lifeless as she gazed at Xianling's sect, which now resembled Azura hell. The Xianling war drum was already broken. The Xianling war flag was already torn. The Xianling disciples were mostly dead from the battle. But to Lin Long, it seemed that the Xianling war drums never stopped ringing. The war flag was still held high, while the disciples were still gathered together that night as they talked about life over wine, occasionally waving swords and learning martial skills from each other. There seemed to be heroic voices by her ears, which seemed to be the loud cries of those unyielding Xianling spirits that have lost their lives in the battle. We use our blood to soak Zunling's flag. We use our heart to light Zunling's anger. We use our hands to hit Zunling's drums. No one in Xianling's sect could block Yinxiao's sect's divine beast. In less than half a day, Xianling's sect was filled with dead bodies. The Grand Elder, Sect Master, and other high-ranking executives were severely injured and had lost their combat capability, and more than half of the thousands of disciples were dead or injured. At this point, it seemed that the curtains were about to be brought down on this battle. However, at this moment, a screeching sound and roars of demonic beasts came from far away. Devilish red shadows seemed to cover the entire sky as blood-colored robes could be seen in the sky. 8 scarlet demonic beasts pulled a huge blood-colored carriage and appeared slowly. There was a frighteningly fierce air in the surroundings. Hundreds of sect members in red robes surrounded the blood carriage without any emotions. Dozens of blood-colored war horses hovered in the sky with an imposing bravado. Boom! 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 The war drums sounded once again. At this moment, the Yinxiao sect masses were stunned as they looked in the sky. Even Li Qinfeng could not help but be taken aback. Blood Moon? Sect? Chapter 536, Arriving with Troops, 2. Right above Xianling's sect, war drums sounded continuously with the galloping of millions of horses that resounded beneath the sky. As the blood-colored shadows enshrouded the sky, it seemed like the air of death was swept in together. The colossus that was annihilated 1,000 years ago appeared in the world once again. The sound of the blood moon godly drum that was almost forgotten persisted once again. 8 demonic beasts let out a terrifying roar as though the rage that had been accumulated for 1,000 years was about flood out. This scene finally caused one to recall the times that were almost forgotten. They were the ones who were once the kings of this world. The Xianling sect masses were extremely shaken as they looked at the sect members in blood robes above the sky. There was an embroidery of a blood crescent, which was Blood Moon Sect's symbol on the blood robe. Blood Moon Sect? The Yinxiao sect disciples were stupefied and could not believe the sight. The words Blood Moon Sect were a taboo on this mainland. 1,000 years ago, it was like a scarlet storm that engulfed this mainland as it toyed with the entire place in its hand. It actually is the Blood Moon Sect. On the 9-tailed spirit phoenix, Yi frowned slightly as she looked at Li Qinfeng. However, Li Qinfeng's brows were tightly furrowed like never before at that moment. The blood moon would reappear in 1,000 years. Whoever wields power shall not idle, as it is our great undertaking for immortality to wreak havoc over a jovial talk. Li Qinfeng mumbled. Back when the Blood Moon sect was annihilated by the combined forces of the sects on this mainland, the Blood Moon Holy Lord left these words behind and disappeared from the world. Suddenly, Li Qinfeng stared in disbelief at the blood-colored carriage that the 8 demonic beasts were pulling. Could it be that a certain important figure of Blood Moon sect resurrected? 1,000 years ago, The Blood Moon Holy Lord stood in the sky and declared to the world that there would ultimately be a day when the Blood Moon would appear once again and wreak havoc. With the resounding Blood Moon sect war drums, perhaps it reflected what the Blood Moon Holy Lord once said. Blood Moon sect would eventually appear once again and paint the ninth heaven with blood. Tsk tisk. Blood Demon laughed so sinisterly that one's hair stood on ends as he scanned the surroundings. Yunshao sect seems to only know how to bully these small sections. What did you say? A Yunshao sect disciple shouted immediately. Upon hearing that, a blood-colored glint flickered in Blood Demon's eyes, and he landed on that Yunshao sect disciple in a second. Before that Yunshao sect disciple even knew what had happened, he turned into a pool of blood water and was absorbed by Blood Demon. This sight caused the Yunshao sect disciples present to gasp. Blood Moon sect, one of the 108 branch masters. Blood Demon branch master. Blood Moon branch masters were Blood Moon sect's core military strength, and every branch master skills were unquestionable. Little kid. Blood Demon laughed coldly and subsequently returned to far away. You all. Upon noticing the situation, a few Yunshao sect elders immediately drew out their weapons. However, they were stopped by Li Qinfeng. Blood Moon sect shocked many in the world. It is a great honor to meet you all today, Li Qinfeng said with a smile. During Blood Moon sect's peak, they were a colossus, and even a super sect like Yunshao sect did not dare to offend them at all. If not for the fact that the Blood Moon sect was too powerful and arose fear in the super sects, which then combined forces to encircle them, it would probably still be extremely powerful today. Despite planting millions of spies and attacking them with a joint effort of hundreds of sects, the Blood Moon sect could still not be defeated. If not for the grudges between the Ultimate Elder and the Blood Moon Holy Lord, causing the Ultimate Elder to personally take action and attack the Blood Moon Holy Lord, the Blood Moon sect back then might not have been annihilated. Chapter 537, Arriving with Troops. 3. Previously, something abnormal happened when sect disciples were out on missions, and it was only then did they sense that there was an indication of the resurrection of annihilated members of the Blood Moon sect. At that very moment, Li Qinfeng was unclear as to what the exact state of Blood Moon sect's recovery was, but he did not wish to casually offend the Blood Moon sect force before him. You know how to talk pretty well? Sitting on a blood-colored horse, the Blood Moon Division head, who wore a blood-colored armor, sneered. Horror shone in Li Qinfeng's eyes as he stared at the Blood Moon Division head. He had seen the portraits of the 108 branch masters and 36 division heads from Elder Chu before, and the elderly on the blood-colored horse was one of the 36 division heads. Could it be that Your Excellency is one of the Blood Moon sect's 36 division heads? Jiangchen division head? Li Qinfeng asked cautiously. Since you know me, hurry up and pay your respects then. A branch master looked down at Li Qinfeng. Huh. Li Qinfeng's lips curled up as his eyes landed on the blood-colored carriage seemingly. There is no hurry for that. I'm just curious if the person in the carriage could be a Blood Moon elder. Elder? The Blood Moon sect members exchanged a look and erupted into laughter. That's right. There indeed is an elder. At that moment, the Blood Moon elder was accompanying beside the Blood Moon guardian, and Li Qinfeng did not say anything wrong. Witnessing the reactions of the Blood Moon sect members, uneasiness suddenly crept in Li Qinfeng's heart for some reason. Is there anything the Blood Moon sect wishes to see us about? Yu suddenly spoke. A trace of caution could be seen on her delicate features. The internal affairs elder of your sect does not even have the qualification to speak to us. Who do you think you are? A Blood Moon sect member shouted coldly. When the Blood Moon sect was at its peak, when had they even cared about a super sect like Yunshao sect before? That sentence was relatively impolite, and coldness set in Yi Yu's eyes after hearing it. Ever since she entered Yunshao sect, she was the sect master's official disciple and was currently Yunshao sect's holy lady. She had some status even in Yunshao sect, and she had never thought she would actually be berated by a Blood Moon sect member in public. Why do I see traces of viciousness in this young girl of Yunshao sect? Could it be that you wish to attack us? That Blood Moon sect member had a teasing expression. Ha ha! Hundreds of Blood Moon sect members roared with laughter immediately. Yu frowned slightly and looked towards Li Chenfeng, who, however, gave Yu a look which signified to not act rashly. Let me ask you all, why do you want to annihilate this small sect? Shuo Tianzong, who had a sword hung on his waist, simply could not be bothered with Yu as he spoke indifferently. Huh? Li Chenfeng chuckled and looked at Shuo Tianzong. So it is Blood Moon Fiend Sword, and I Tianzong Branch Master. Truth be told, there is some enmity between this sect and ours, and we started a war today. Shuo Tianzong had an indifferent expression. I'm protecting this small sect. After hearing these words, the high-ranking Xianling executives, as well as Xianling's sect disciples, were in disbelief. Not mentioning the people from Yunxiao's sect, even the Xianling sect masses were utterly stupefied by Shuo Tianzang's words. The reason for Blood Moon sect's sudden appearance was still unknown. Who would have thought that the Blood Moon sect would actually say that they wanted to protect Xianling's sect? You're protecting it? A warden from Yunxiao's sect looked at Shuo Tianzong and sneered. On what basis? Chapter 538, displaying one's remarkable prowess. One clank, as a crisp, unsheathing sound rang in the air. That disrespectful Yunxiao sect warden was split into two by the blood-colored sword light in the next second. Clank! At the same time, the sword was kept back into its sheath. On the basis of my sword, Shuo Tianzong was emotionless. Hiss! As the Yunxiao sect elites saw crimson blood spurting out of the warden who was sliced by the sword aura, they gasped in horror. No one saw Shuo Tianzang's attack. That man in a white top seemed to have stood in midair without moving throughout the entire time. The sword was unsheathed and sheathed in just a breath's time, and it was so quick that one could not distinguish his movements with their naked eye. In just a moment, the Yunxiao sect warden was killed there, and then Shuo Tianzong, a Yunxiao sect elder, was rather nervous. Rumor had it that amongst the 108 branch masters, Shuo Tianzong was nicknamed the Blood Moon Fiend Sword. His swordplay techniques were superb and had been extraordinary since 1,000 years ago. He was known as Blood Moon Sect's top swordplay master. Although he was a branch master, his skills were, however, unfathomable. That nine-tailed spirit phoenix is pretty good. Suddenly, an ethereal voice sounded from the blood-colored carriage that the 8 demonic beasts were pulling. Blood Demon immediately cupped his fists and bowed respectfully. I understand. Afterward, Blood Demon snickered devilishly and flew towards Yu. Yu was slightly taken aback to see a red shadow flying towards her. A cold glint flickered in her eyes as she said coldly, "You have a death wish." Yu, who was standing on the nine-tailed spirit phoenix, smashed a hand towards Blood Demon. A playful expression appeared on Blood Demon's face immediately. There was something special about this Yunxiao sect girl. She was so young, but had already entered the third heaven of martial chi level 3. Blood Demon rapidly disjointed his body and turned into blood water. Blood Demon mystical technique. Yu kept her hand back. A blue light filled with a horrifying force of destruction floated into appearance around her. TSK. Blood Demon laughed evilly. Even if she had a blue spirit root, he had no fear. Before Yu attacked, the nine-tailed spirit phoenix beneath her was already covered in Blood Demon's blood-colored force. The nine-tailed spirit phoenix cried in fury and moved around, wanting to escape the bind. However, the blood-colored force was like a sturdy cage that could not be escaped from. Blood Demon pulled the nine-tailed spirit phoenix and flew forward. Yu frowned. She could not do anything to Blood Demon right now. If she was led into the group of people by him, the consequences would be dire, so she could only give up on her nine-tailed spirit phoenix temporarily. At the thought of how she had never suffered such a humiliation ever since she entered Yunxiao's sect, she glared at the blood-colored carriage coldly. Pulling the nine-tailed spirit phoenix, Blood Demon walked to the blood carriage in great strides before kneeling on a knee. I brought the nine-tailed spirit phoenix. Good? The ethereal voice sounded from the carriage once again. As that voice sounded, an ash-pale girl with a crystal-clear body and delicate features slowly walked out from the blood carriage with an aloof expression. She reached out for the nine-tailed spirit phoenix. Her seemingly weak hand was gently placed on the back of the nine-tailed spirit phoenix. Hoots! The nine-tailed spirit phoenix shouted angrily, as though it did not allow anyone apart from Yiyu to touch it. However, as the girl's hand touched the nine-tailed spirit phoenix, it turned blood red before everyone's eyes and no longer struggled in just a few breaths' time. Blood Demon, the girl spoke softly. Then, Blood Demon let out an evil laugh and kept the blood-colored force that twined around the nine-tailed spirit phoenix's body. Chapter 539, Displaying One's Remarkable Prowess. 2. The nine-tailed spirit phoenix, which turned red, flapped its wings instantly and hovered in the sky, becoming a member of the Blood Moon sect. My nine-tailed spirit phoenix. Yi was shocked to witness her own nine-tailed spirit phoenix listening to that girl. Her master, the Yunxiao sect master, personally sought this nine-tailed spirit phoenix for her, and it was extraordinarily precious. Yet, it was actually snatched by the Blood Moon sect members today. That girl is one of the 108 branch masters, Fiendish Demon. Li Chunfeng had a serious expression when he recognized the other party's identity immediately after seeing that she controlled the nine-tailed spirit phoenix. It was said that Fiendish Demon was transformed from a demonic beast, and it could control spirit animals and demonic beasts and even assimilate them. Currently, the nine-tailed spirit phoenix was already assimilated by the Fiendish Demon and no longer belonged to Yiyu. Come back, Yiyu said gently as she looked at the nine-tailed spirit phoenix that hovered above the Blood Moon sect members. However, the blood-colored nine-tailed spirit phoenix glanced at Yiyu without any warmth like before. Its eyes were cold and indifferent, and even had a trace of disdain. Blood Moon sect. What exactly do you all want? A Yunxiao sect elder shouted at that instant. There are two goals for coming here today, Shua Tianzong said. Firstly, to kill our sect betrayer, Chu Zhongyang, and secondly, to annihilate Yunxiao sect. Soul-severing troll added on. What? The Yunxiao sect elder clenched his teeth. Don't push your luck, Blood Moon sect. There were hundreds of sects who annihilated your sect back then. Why must you all come at Yunxiao sect the moment you all appear, and not other sects? What you said is right. Shua Tianzong looked at that Yunxiao sect elder apathetically. At that instant, the Xianling sect masses were shaken as they looked at the Blood Moon sect forces in midair. This was the colossus that took over the world 1,000 years ago. As powerful as Yunxiao sect was, it, however, no longer had any attitude before the Blood Moon sect. In the blood carriage, the Blood Moon elder looked out and shook his head. Xianling sect really sustained heavy damages if we came any later. I'm afraid it would already have been annihilated by Yunxiao sect. A cold glint flashed across Yi Qingtang's eyes at that moment. She had already rushed over at the fastest speed. Yi Qingtang stood up and looked downward. It was haphazard in Xianling sect. The disciples' corpses seemed to pile into a small mountain, while the boundless blood reflected in her eyes like a flame that burned ragingly. Then, Yi Qingtang narrowed her eyes as she looked at Yi, you not far away. That Yiyu, who personally snatched her spirit root away. Yi Qingtang's eyes flickered, but she did not give any orders to the Blood Moon sect members. She took a deep breath quietly and suppressed all her emotions, allowing her eyes to slowly return to a calm expression. She came today not to settle scores with Yiyu, but to rescue Xianling sect, and thus she should prioritize the overall situation. With a Blood Moon sect division in action, the other super sects in Formidable Heavens dynasty would hear of it and rush over shortly after. She must save her sect from the misery in the shortest time possible. As for Yiyu, they still had a long time ahead of them in the future, and she would slowly settle this score with Yiyu. At that instant, Li Chunfeng glimpsed across the blood carriage that the 8 demonic beasts were pulling and asked, "I wonder who is in the carriage?" "You're not qualified to know." The Blood Moon Division head sneered coldly. However, as the Blood Moon Division head finished his sentence, the carriage door was suddenly opened. Chapter 540, Displaying One's Remarkable Prowess. 3. A flaming red figure stepped out of the blood-colored carriage slowly. In just an instant, it attracted the attention of everyone present. With a red veil covering her face, Yi Qingtang gradually walked into everyone's line of sight. The eyes that were exposed out of the veil were like a treasury of stars, revealing specks of coldness as they glanced across the masses. The Blood Moon sect members immediately separated into 2 sides when they saw Yi Qingtang walking out of the blood carriage. Everyone, including Shua Tianzong and Jiang Chun, a Blood Moon Division head, successively bowed to the girl in a red veil with a reverent and respectful expression. Li Chunfeng was surprised. Previously, he only guessed that the person in the carriage was at the level of a Blood Moon sect elder. But now, the girl's appearance could actually make the Blood Moon Division head bow in respect. The division head and elder had an equal position in Blood Moon sect. If that girl was a Blood Moon sect elder, the Blood Moon Division head absolutely did not need to give her a full bow. Below, the remaining Xinling sect disciples were extremely curious as they looked at the girl. Although Blood Moon sect had a well-known reputation, very few saw their true faces, and the curiosity of the sect disciples was inevitable. From the reaction of the Blood Moon sect masses, they could tell that the girl's identity and position were definitely not that of an average disciple. Could that person be? After the appearance of Blood Moon sect, Elder Qin, who had not spoken all this while, had a change in expression, and he looked at Elder Mo in front of him. Blood Moon sect's appearance pinned down Yunxiao sect, allowing the Xinling sect masses to heal their injuries. The condition of those heavily injured disciples was mostly stabilized, and the Xinling sect master and grand elder had recovered quite a fair bit as well. Elder Mo was rather perplexed as he looked at the girl in a red face veil. For some reason, he felt that the pair of eyes and brows outside the veil were seemingly familiar. Could it be one of the 3 Great Blood Moon sect guardians? The Xinling sect master asked, flabbergasted. But it is said that the 3 guardians of Blood Moon sect were extremely mysterious and never appeared before anyone. Elder Mo was unconvinced that a Blood Moon guardian would appear. After all, those 3 guardians never appeared even when Blood Moon sect was annihilated back then. How then would they appear here today? Was it truly to protect their Xinling sect? Just the thought of it was preposterous. However, as Elder Mo was guessing that, we pay respects to the guardian. In midair, the Blood Moon sect masses greeted uniformly in a loud and imposing manner. Elder Mo and everyone else in Xinling sect were utterly dumbstruck. Everyone in Yunxiao sect was even more astonished. The 3 Blood Moon Guardians had never appeared before anyone since the founding of the sect, including when the sect was annihilated back then. Yet, unexpectedly, they actually saw an alive Blood Moon Guardian today. "You are a Blood Moon Guardian?" Li Chenfeng's body stiffened as he stared at the mysterious girl. A Blood Moon Guardian was ranked just below the Blood Moon sect master and Holy Lord in Blood Moon sect. Their skills and rank were not one that a Blood Moon Division head and elder could be compared to. Puzzlement emerged in Yi Yu's cold eyes as she stared at the Blood Moon Guardian, who was donned in a red robe that swayed elegantly in the wind. Although the Blood Moon Guardian's face was covered by a red face veil, the person's eyes were faintly familiar to her, and she seemed to have seen them somewhere before. Chapter 541, War 1. At that moment, Soul-Severing Troll walked forward and gently lifted and placed Yi Qingtang on his shoulder. Yi Qingtang stood on the shoulder of the giant-like troll proudly and gave her order immediately. "This place must be blood-stained." A cold and cheerless voice traveled into everyone's ears. In the next second, "Call! Call! Call!" Hundreds of Blood Moon sect members shouted continuously. Call! Yi Qingtang waved a hand immediately. Swoosh! In almost a second, hundreds of Blood Moon sect members turned into blood-colored shadows and flew towards Xinling sect. While the Yunxiao sect disciples were powerful, they paled in comparison to the Blood Moon sect members. Moreover, more than half of the Yunxiao sect disciples sent were already killed by Xinling sect's heritage, and only around 30 people remained, making it impossible to put up a struggle against hundreds of Blood Moon sect members. At that instant, the Yunxiao sect disciples in Xinling sect were no longer as arrogant and proud as before. With the Blood Moon sect members coming after their lives crazily, the Yunxiao sect disciples fled in disarray. The Xinling sect disciples were dumbfounded at the sight and did not know what to say. They were initially a little worried that the Blood Moon sect people would conveniently kill them along with the Yunxiao sect forces. After all, while that Shuo Tianzong said he wanted to protect Xinling sect, according to Blood Moon sect's past temperamental style, it was impossible to make any judgments. However, this worry vanished into thin air very quickly. The Blood Moon sect members did not attack Xinling sect. Their objective was very clear, and they only targeted Yunxiao sect, such that they did not even spare Xinling sect an eye. The Xinling sect masses were even more BF-led then. They initially thought that a disaster would befall on them. Yet unexpectedly, the Blood Moon sect appeared in the middle of nowhere. Li Qianfeng's brows were tightly furrowed. The Blood Moon Guardian actually gave an order to annihilate them. Little bitch, receive your death. Blood Demon cackled before turning into blood water and headed towards Yi Yu directly. Noticing the situation, Yi Yu's eyes were cold, and a horrifying breath of destruction emerged around her. Blood Demon possessed demonic blood powers, and he could destroy himself and turn into blood water. However, Yi Yu never paid any attention to him. With her blue spirit root and paragon skill, she could kill the Blood Demon if she was given time. Blood Moon Guardian, is it impossible to end things nicely today? Li Chunfeng looked at Yi Qingtang. However, Yi Qingtang remained silent and looked back at Li Chunfeng with cold eyes, clearly having no intention to reply to him. Good. Since your Blood Moon sect is so conceited, all of you will die here today. Li Chunfeng narrowed his eyes. He originally did not wish to fight against Blood Moon sect, yet unexpectedly, the Blood Moon sect wanted to annihilate them. If that was the case, a war it shall be then. Right after, Li Chunfeng gently patted the sect protector Divine Beast. Roar! In the next second, the Divine Beast roared in fury and charged towards Yi Qingtang. Roar! At the same time, the 8 demonic beasts roared angrily and charged out from both Yi Qingtang's sides. Several huge shadows flashed across and entered a brawl with that divine beast. Swoosh! A sword light shone and slashed towards Li Chunfeng. Li Chunfeng did not dare to be careless and used a remarkable technique to take refuge in the void, only reappearing after dodging that frightening blow. Shuo Tianzong. Li Chunfeng mumbled coldly as he looked at the youth who stood in midair with a sword wielded in his hand. Shuo Tianzong was highly ranked amongst the 108 branch masters. His sword Dao attainments were extremely high, and he was not easy to deal with. Chapter 542 War 2. Without saying anything, Shuo Tianzong turned into a ray of white light and slashed his sword toward Li Chunfeng, the youngest internal affairs elder in Yunxiao sect history. The divine beast was held back by the 8 demonic beasts and was assisted by the pale girl, who was nicknamed as the fiendish demon. Thus, it could not leave to help Li Chunfeng at the moment. Almost half of the Yunxiao sect disciples and wardens in Xinling sect were killed by Blood Moon sect. If not for the exhaustion caused by Xinling sect heritage, perhaps the Yunxiao sect masses still could hold on for some time. However, under the powerful force of the Blood Moon sect division, the Yunxiao sect masses retreated in defeat little by little and could not contend against their opponent. Boom! Blood Demon was flung out by the force of Yi Yu's blue spirit root. Subsequently, Yi flew towards Yi Qingtang. Yi did not become Yunxiao sect's holy lady just because of her martial talents. Earlier on, Yi faintly sensed that the Blood Moon Guardian's martial aura was not extremely strong. Thus, Yi thought that perhaps this Blood Moon Guardian had just resurrected not long ago. Capture the ringleader first in order to capture all his followers. If she could capture the Blood Moon Guardian, none of the Blood Moon sect members would dare to make any moves rashly. Humph! Soul-severing troll scoffed coldly as he looked at Yiyu, who charged towards them, and threw a heavy punch at her. However, Yiyu was extremely nimble. She stepped on soul-severing troll's shoulders and struck towards Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang's brows were furrowed when she saw Yiyu coming for her, and she immediately shifted her body to his side. There was a lot of force in Yiyu's strike, and even the wind from the strike was extremely strong. Although Yi Qingtang dodged the attack, the wind from the strike directly caused Yi Qingtang's blood-colored veil to fall. Looking at the face veil that drifted down, Yi Qingtang knew that there was trouble. However, the face that was revealed after the face veil dropped caused Yiyu to be taken aback for a moment. Didn't the face before her, right now, belong to Yi Qingtang? How could it be Yi Qingtang? At that time, soul-severing troll roared in fury and forced Yiyu to retreat with his powerful force. Yi Qingtang. Yiyu withdrew herself and leaped away. Her detached eyes were fixed right on Yi Qingtang. Why did she not know that Yi Qingtang had become that so-called Blood Moon Guardian? In Xianling sect, Elder Mo, Elder Qin, and the rest were in disbelief after seeing the face of the Blood Moon Guardian. No one would have thought that the Blood Moon Guardian was actually Yi Qingtang. Isn't that Junior Sister Yi, Zhu Chang'e, with his mouth agape, stared at Yi Qingtang, who was donned in full red that resembled FRE. Junior Sister Yi? Junior Sister Yi is Blood Moon Sect's guardian? Qin Huan widened his eyes, suspecting if he was hallucinating. Impossible. How can Junior Sister Yi be Blood Moon Sect's guardian? Yun Shu shook his head. There was definitely something off in this. Qingtang, why did you become the Blood Moon Sect's guardian? The Grand Elder shouted towards the sky. After hearing his words, the Yunxiao sect masses immediately looked towards Yi Qingtang. This person isn't a Blood Moon Guardian at all. She is a Xianling sect disciple, Yi Qingtang. Suddenly, a Yunxiao sect disciple who was once injured by Yi Qingtang shouted loudly. What? The Blood Moon sect division head, Jiang Chun, and all branch masters stopped their action immediately. Yiyu's lips curled into a sneer. Blood Moon sect has a legendary reputation, but after seeing it today, it doesn't seem much. What do you mean? A Blood Moon branch master looked at Yiyu with a frown. Chapter 543 Exposed Identity 1. Your Blood Moon Guardian is Yi Qingtang, a simple Xianling sect disciple. More than that, she is from the same clan as me and is only 15 this year. Your Blood Moon sect was already annihilated 1,000 years ago. From the rumors, weren't all your guardians personally appointed by your holy lord? Why is it that now? Could it be that anyone could also be a guardian of your Blood Moon sect? Yiyu chuckled and subsequently looked towards Yi Qingtang. Qingtang, what exactly is going on? Why did you become a Blood Moon Guardian? At that moment, the Grand Elder led the other elders and flew to the sky as they looked at Yi Qingtang in astonishment. Is she really a disciple from your sect? Jiangchen hollered. Of course. The Grand Elder nodded. Yi Qingtang stared blankly at the Grand Elder. Is the brain of this Grand Elder made of tofu? She risked her life and successfully pretended to be a Blood Moon Guardian with much difficulty, but in the end, it was all foiled by this Grand Elder. Initially, even if Yiyu doubted her, Yi Qingtang still had a way to lie her way through and allow the Blood Moon sect members to believe her. But now, even Xianling sect's Grand Elder claimed that she was a Xianling sect disciple. You! Jiangchen turned around and glared at Yi Qingtang furiously. I already thought it was extremely strange previously. The three guardians of my blood moon sect never appeared before anyone. Why would it come to our division for no reason? Ah, so it is a fake one. Blood moon sect truly made a big joke out of itself. Yu lifted her chin as she sneered. This girl is extremely crafty and has a vicious nature. As a Xianling sect disciple, she pretended to be a guardian of your sect, as she wished to borrow your forces to attack my Yinxiao sect and save Xianling sect from its miserable situation. After hearing Yu, the Grand Elder's expression turned weird. He originally wanted to continue saying something, but suddenly changed his stance. Oh, I saw wrongly. You're not my sect disciple Yi Qingtang. You just resemble her a little. She indeed is not my disciple Yi Qingtang. She does look rather similar, but upon closer inspection, one can tell that they clearly are two different people. Elder Mo echoed. I already said that she is not Yi Qingtang. You all still didn't believe me. It is time you all finally believe me now. Elder Mo added. You glimpsed at the Yunxiao sect masses. By changing your stance now, could it be that you all think Blood Moon sect would still believe you all? Subsequently, Yu looked at the Blood Moon division head and smiled. Blood Moon sect has a legendary reputation. Don't be cheated by this devious girl. It would really become a big joke when both your sect and my Yinxiao sect suffer an internecine outcome then. You could tell from a long time ago that the Blood Moon sect attacked Yinxiao sect today and protected Xianling sect because of the orders of the fake guardian, Yi Qingtang. Now, Yi Qingtang's identity was already exposed. Then, clank, Shuo Tianzong immediately sheathed his sword with a calm expression and no longer fought with Li Qinfeng. I thought there was something off about you from the start. Blood Demon looked at Yi Qingtang. Scoundrel! Jiang Chen hollered in fury. How dare this girl pretend to be a Blood Moon guardian and incite them to come here and start a war with Yinxiao sect? Fellow Blood Moon sect members, this person is Yi Qingtang, a Xianling sect disciple. She killed and injured dozens of my Yunxiao sect disciples, and she is currently wanted by our sect. Li Qinfeng withdrew himself from the battle and retrieved an arrest warrant with Yi Qingtang's face on it from a Yunxiao sect disciple. Waving it around, he showed it to the Blood Moon sect members. Chapter 544, Exposed Identity 2, wasn't the girl on that arrest warrant Yi Qingtang, who was standing before them right now. At that moment, the Blood Moon Elder who had been staying in the blood-colored carriage was alarmed as he witnessed everything. It's over now, he thought to himself. You have a death wish. The Blood Moon Division head was enraged immediately and slapped towards Yi Qingtang. Nonetheless, Yi Qingtang was already prepared and retreated backward before he struck. The Blood Moon Division head was boiling with fury at that moment. If other divisions knew that they were fooled by a disciple of an ordinary sect, wouldn't he become the biggest joke in Blood Moon sect? Although it was unknown why the demonic water was ineffective on her, it was without doubt that this girl was fake, given that Xianling sect's Grand Elder and other high-ranking executives already had a slip of the tongue earlier. The more the Blood Moon Division head thought about it, the more furious he was. How he wished he could crush Yi Qingtang, who fooled him with a strike. But before the Blood Moon Division head could vent his anger on Yi Qingtang, several figures suddenly appeared in midair, and hundreds of people came in just a few seconds. Yuehua sect, Lingyun sect, Yunxiao sect masses smiled as they saw the other sects coming. Similar to Yunxiao sect, Yuehua sect and Lingyun sect were super sects of formidable Heaven's dynasty. Among the forces that annihilated Blood Moon sect back then, these two sects participated as well. Now that they suddenly came, it was probably because they heard of the Blood Moon sect's appearance. Humph! The remaining evil of Blood Moon sect. An elderly swept his eyes across the Blood Moon sect masses and shouted coldly. Yu took a glance and could not help but scoff in her heart when she saw that the sect masters of both sects arrived at the scene as well. She glimpsed at where Yi Qingtang was from the corner of her eyes and subsequently said to both sect masters, Yuehua sect master, Lingyun sect master, The remaining evil of Blood Moon sect has appeared. Let's combine our forces and kill them all. Naturally, Yi Yu's words would not be rejected as the sect masters of both super sects were originally here to deal with Blood Moon sect. They were aware of how powerful and influential Blood Moon sect was back then. If Blood Moon sect was allowed to resurrect completely, the hundreds of sects which participated in annihilating Blood Moon sect back then would probably face a powerful enemy. Yi Qingtang was not surprised by the appearance of the other two super sections. She had expected all of this. Initially, Yi Qingtang's plan was to use the shortest time to completely wipe out the Yunxiao sect forces here and lead the Blood Moon sect masses to flee from this place. According to her calculation, the other two super sects would not be able to reach in time. It was, however, a pity that she was ultimately just one step short of success. Yi Qingtang was extremely helpless. She was clearly just a step away. Uncontrollably, Yi Qingtang darted a look to the Grand Elder not far away. The plan was truly messed up by the Grand Elder. However, Yi Qingtang would not place the blame on the Grand Elder. After all, if it were her, she would probably react that way as well since she had never told the Grand Elder before this. Almost all of the high-ranking executives of Yuehua sect and Lingyun sect were present. It was completely different from Yunxiao sect situation where they only had a few people left. Blood Moon sect. You all didn't hide properly and even dared to appear so brazenly. You truly have a death wish. The Yuehua sect master roared sternly. Full of bullshit. The Blood Moon division head scoffed coldly. You're still so reluctant to admit defeat, even with death near at hand. Lingyun's sect master waved an arm. Kill. As the command was given, the three sects attacked at the same time and charged towards the Blood Moon sect members. Kill. The Blood Moon division head was not fearful at all as he welcomed the battle. Boom. A war erupted instantly, with thunderous rumbles exploding in the sky. Chapter 545, Blood Moon Holy Lord 1. At that instant, the Blood Moon Elder walked out from the carriage and looked at Yi Qingtang. Why did it become like this? Although he knew that Yi Qingtang could never be their Blood Moon sect guardian, he thought that Yi Qingtang's identity as a Blood Moon guardian was definitely not fake. Otherwise, she would not have passed the demonic waters test. But why did things develop to this stage? Almost the whole troop was deployed from the two super sects, and this Blood Moon sect division would definitely not be able to defeat them. He was afraid that all of them would be exterminated here today. Yi Qingtang did not loathe Blood Moon sect. After interacting with them for a few days, she instead felt that the members had a straightforward personality. Although their character was strange, they were no evil villains. If this entire Blood Moon sect division was destructed here today, Yi Qingtang's brows were tightly furrowed. A sense of helplessness arose within her as she watched the Blood Moon sect members hold up with difficulty. She could not blame Xinling sect's Grand Elder for sabotaging her, as the situation happened too suddenly, and the Grand Elder was completely unaware. It was, however, that her efforts would ultimately be wasted suddenly. The Blood Moon division head retreated backward. His complexion was pale as he panted hurriedly. This malicious girl. The Blood Moon division head gritted his teeth when he saw Yi Qingtang beside him. If Yi Qingtang had not pretended to be a Blood Moon guardian, they would not appear in Xinling sect and fight with three super sects before recovering their primordial chi fully. However, before the Blood Moon division head continued to say anything, he was completely stupefied. The pair of eyes that was initially filled with fury was instead replaced by a look of disbelief as he looked behind Yi Qingtang. A tall figure had appeared behind Yi Qingtang from some time ago. That tall and straight figure was like the pillar of this world. His symbolic silver hair tousled in the wind. On his flawless face, the blood-colored crescent at his glabella appeared devilishly charming. Holy, 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 holy. The Blood Moon division head stared at that godlike male with his mouth agape. His burly body quivered incessantly as he gulped. The silver-haired man ignored the Blood Moon Division head as he slowly raised his right hand and patted Yi Qingtang's shoulder gently. Suddenly feeling a tap on her shoulder, Yi Qingtang turned around instinctively. But when she saw the silver-haired man behind her, she was taken aback. Younger brother? Puzzlement filled Yi Qingtang's eyes as she looked at the silver-haired man before her. Wasn't this the cheapskate brother she picked up on the way that day? Why did he appear here? Younger brother? After hearing the words, younger brother, from Yi Qingtang, it was as though the Blood Moon Division head turned into stone. What did this malicious girl who pretended to be a Blood Moon Guardian call that lordship? Younger brother? Younger brother? Division head? Seeing that the Blood Moon Division head had not returned to his senses after a long time, the Blood Moon sect members and branch masters looked towards where Yi Qingtang was standing in puzzlement. In just a second, everyone was stunned, and some branch masters even forgot to counterattack and were forced backward by the powerful figures from the two super sections. After taking a clear look of the silver-haired male behind Yi Qingtang, the Blood Moon Elder, who had been vexed by the current situation, reacted the same way as the Blood Moon sect members. His eyes dilated, and his body almost collapsed. That indifferent male was none other than Blood Moon Sect's supreme faith totem, the Blood Moon Holy Lord. The Blood Moon Holy Lord had graced them with his presence. Chapter 546. Blood Moon Holy Lord 2. The man's silver hair swayed in the breeze. The blood-colored crescent on his glabella added an inexplicable devilish charm to his almost perfect face. His eyes were like an ancient well with still water as he scanned the scene. The corners of his long, red robe rustled. The Blood Moon Division head, Jiang Chun, Blood Moon Elder, and others were completely stupefied as they stared at the silver-haired man, seeming to have already forgotten to breathe. Yi Qingtang looked at her cheapskate brother in puzzlement and was surprised by his arrival. Why'd he run here at this dangerous time? Seeing that he did not react, Yi Qingtang could not help but call him again. Younger brother? Blood Moon Holy Lord stared at her blankly. As the Blood Moon Holy Lord appeared, the whole world seemed to have fallen into a dead silence, and there was not a single noise. Li Chenfeng's brows were slightly furrowed as he looked at the silver-haired male. After taking a close look, he was completely lifeless. It was as though a mountain range crushed his body, and fear eroded every part of him. Elderly, standing in the air silently, Yi was a little puzzled as she looked at Li Chenfeng. However, Li Chenfeng's lips only twitched, and he could not say anything. The Xianling sect masses inspected the silver-haired man behind Yi Qingtang instinctively with strange expressions. Who is that fellow? Confusion was etched all over Qin Huan's face as he looked at the silver-haired man beside Yi Qingtang. I'm not sure, but looking at the crescent on his glabella, he should be someone at the level of a Blood Moon sect elder. Feng Moli looked over as well and took a guess. Blood Moon sect elder? The remaining Xianling sect disciples gasped immediately. Although an elder and division head had similar positions in Blood Moon sect, an elder skill was higher than that of a division head. Although a division head was the leader in a Blood Moon division, he would still require to seek the opinion of an elder when settling important matters. With a Blood Moon elder here, perhaps it would be enough to reverse the crushing situation that Blood Moon sect was in. Currently, the three super sects were attacking Blood Moon sect from all sides. Although Xianling sect was temporarily forgotten by the three super sects, Xianling sect did not forget Yunxiao sect's purpose for coming here today. Once Blood Moon sect was defeated, Yunxiao sect would naturally deal with Xianling sect. Then it would be the arrival of the calamity. At this moment, they could no longer care about Blood Moon sect's rumors. I can't tell anything from his aura, and I don't know what state he has reached. However, it seems that he should be someone of the level of a Blood Moon elder. After scanning for a moment, Elder Qin told the Xianling sect master and Elder Mo. There were 108 branch masters and 36 division heads in Blood Moon sect, but there were only 24 elders, each possessing remarkable abilities. No one thought they could still witness a Blood Moon elder after 1,000 years. Yi Qingtang had a strange expression as she looked at the cheapskate brother before her. She merely had a teasing mindset when she took him as her younger brother that day. Moreover, from her memory, her cheapskate brother was an ardent fan of Blood Moon sect. With Blood Moon sect appearing here today, it couldn't be that he obtained the news and purposely chased after the Blood Moon sect all the way here. Could it? Who are you? Then, a Yunshao sect elder shouted sternly at the silver-haired man. Chapter 547, Blood Moon Holy Lord 3. The two super sects, Yuehua sect and Lingyun sect, were present currently, and this group of Blood Moon sect forces would definitely be wiped out. Thus, there was no longer any fear of facing Blood Moon sect. Looking at that silver-haired man, if he was not a Blood Moon division head, he should be a Blood Moon elder. But even if he was a Blood Moon elder, his death was definite. However, the silver-haired man did not react after a long while. Roar! The Yunshao sect divine beast roared in fury as it glared at the silver-haired man with its lantern-like eyes. Don't! Li Chunfeng muttered. Li Chunfeng was alarmed. Others might not know the identity of this silver-haired man, but Li Chunfeng did. 1,000 years had passed, and those who saw the Blood Moon Holy Lord in the battle had already passed on. However, Li Chunfeng saw a portrait of the Blood Moon sect's Holy Lord by chance once, and the person on that portrait was exactly this silver-haired man before their eyes. As he looked at the bright red blood moon on that man's glabella, Li Chunfeng was even more sure of the other party's identity. However, 1,000 years ago, hundreds of sects combined forces in an attempt to annihilate the Blood Moon sect at the last moment. The Blood Moon Holy Lord appeared and slaughtered dozens of extremely powerful demonic beasts, with one of them being the mother of Yunshao sect's sect protector Divine Beast. The Blood Moon Holy Lord had killed the Divine Beast's mother 1,000 years ago, and rage flooded the beast's eyes as it saw the Blood Moon Holy Lord today. The Divine Beast was long drowned in hatred currently and could not be controlled by Li Chunfeng. No matter how Li Chunfeng dissuaded it, there was no use. Roar! The Divine Beast let out an enraged roar once again, and its gigantic body charged towards the Blood Moon Holy Lord. In an instant, it was as though dark clouds covered the sky as a wild gust of wind stirred. Yunshao sect's Divine Beast was extremely skilled and could be said to be unrivaled. The moment it struck, its demonic air swept throughout the place. Everyone only saw that, for some unknown reason, the Yunshao sect Divine Beast was out of control and charged towards that silver-haired man. Upon noticing the situation, the Blood Moon Division head and others had a rude awakening and dashed forward quickly, wanting to stop the Yunshao sect Divine Beast. Yet, the Divine Beast that was out of control was frighteningly powerful. With the sweep of a tail, the Blood Moon sect forces were forced to retreat. The Xianling sect masses below were astonished. The sudden change caught everyone unexpected, and no one had the time to examine the reason behind the Yunshao sect Divine Beast behavior after seeing the silver-haired man. Right now, the Xianling sect masses were only worried about Yi Qingtang. Yi Qingtang was standing right in front of the silver-haired man. With the Yunshao sect Divine Beast attacking the silver-haired man, they were afraid that Yi Qingtang would experience an undeserved catastrophe as well. Be careful! A pair of wings grew behind Yi Qingtang's back, and she immediately grabbed the Blood Moon Holy Lord's arm, wanting to bring him away from here. However, the Blood Moon Holy Lord remained rooted to the same spot, seeming to not have any plan to escape. Swoosh! In the next second, the Blood Moon Holy Lord took a step out and pulled Yi Qingtang behind him. Yi Qingtang was astonished. That was Yunshao sect protector Divine Beast. A cold sneer could be seen on the faces of the Fengyue sect and Lingyun sect masses. They had not seen this silver-haired man before, but from his appearance, they reckoned that he should be a Blood Moon sect elder. If he was at his peak, perhaps he still could have a match with the Yunxiao sect divine beast. However, most of the Blood Moon sect masses had just resurrected not long ago, and their skills naturally could not be compared to when they were at their peak. Thus, he was definitely not the Yunxiao sect divine beast's opponent. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.